Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the ANZCAR ABRUZZI Cup here on the SimShed Broadcasting Network. We are here tonight at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, a very tricky track where we're expecting to see a little bit of a struggle tonight, especially with the rear of the cars. We did have a race last week at Phoenix, of course. Unfortunately, we had some technical issues coming towards the end of that race. So before I start off everything tonight, I'm just going to run through a little bit of a recap of what happened there. So towards the end of the race, we saw Danny G coming across the line in first place, managing to get a great restart, make his tyres work for him, and get a great victory for the first time this season in the Cup. Behind him was Josh Micklemore with Jason Hartigan in third, Foster fourth, and Chris Purnell in fifth. The race was a bit of a tricky one with cautions, unfortunately, but later on it did get quite good. It's done the following to the championship. So up in first place is Josh Micklemore. No wins this season, but consistency has been key. Behind him is Neil Pearson, who had a bit of a bad race last time out at Phoenix. Danny G moves up to third with Michael Skurlock in fourth, Edward Foster fifth. Raymond Yeager in a joint sixth position with Devon Stove, who's having a stellar season so far. Chris Purnell sits in eighth, with Riley Curtis in joint ninth position with Jason Martin. Strange to see Jason Martin that far down at the moment. I'm sure things will start to come up for him. So then we have Matthew Raymond and Stephen Williams in 11th place, joint 11th at the moment, but very close to that 10th spot. So things have shaken out a little bit for that. Of course, we have had some slight changes to the track here at Atlanta, which some drivers are finding for sure. We've also had a bit of a change in the session status as well from the qualifying and practice session that we had before the race went live, where it was a bit of a cooler track temperature down at 33 Celsius. It's now 41 Celsius on the track for the race, and that's going to change things a lot for these drivers tonight. Not going to help those rear tyres, which the drivers, as I said before, are struggling with. So as you can see, the cars are out there at the moment for this practice session, just getting everything running and getting used to the actual current situation on track, which can be tricky here at Atlanta because it's one of those tracks where it is very easy to lose the car. And you'll see a few cars just stepping out at the rear tonight. It's going to be pretty much a constant theme of the evening. Tyre wear is going to be a big factor as well this evening. We're expecting to see cars doing around about the 40 laps for their stint, so expect a two-stopper tonight if we run green. The drivers, of course, will be jumping into the pit lane if we have a caution. Remember, they do only have 4 sets of tyres for the race, so they get the set they start on and then they have 3 stops to use tyres in. So you'll see a lot of drivers just probably not taking tyres if there's an early caution. You might see a few coming down the lane for some fuel, but most will stay out. As the checkered flag comes out, we'll soon be getting ready for the race, gridding up and getting started for this one. So let's start running through the grid order for tonight. So up on the front row of the grid, we have Josh Micklemore and Michael Skurlock. Row 2 is Jason Martin with Neil Pearson. Row 3, Edward Foster, Hamish Gallagher. Row 4, Barry Neal with Danny G. Row 5, Aaron Dillon and Raymond Yeager. Row 6, Kai Turner with Andrew Dyson. Row 7 is Kate Donnelly with Parry Anaskatis. Row 8 is Jason Hartigan with Brad Allison. Row 9 is Philip Woolley with Adam Roselle. Row 10, Lachlan Okio with Matt Hunter. Row 11, Christopher Finley with Luke Trahir. Row 12, Gary Wellman, Mirko Dornak. Row 13 is Justin Howe with Aidan Schultz. 14, we have Scott Griffiths with Greg Spencer. 16th row, Joshua Carroll Walden with Justin Witcher. 17th is Paul Daniels the second, and Tristan Koch. 18, we have Matthew Raymond, James Robbie. 19, Phil Otto, Stephen Williams. 20, S. Patton with Aaron Major. 21st is Liam Ford with Dwayne Priest. Coming down to the back of the grid, 22nd is Clint Vincent, Bill Hickey, and at the back we have Ruben Phelps, just on the very back of the line there. So this is going to be a bit of a long one. It can be a bit of a tricky one. Expect to see these drivers not pushing too hard at the start, but they're going to want to try and keep a relatively clean car for this one. Try and keep towards the front of the pack just in case a big incident happens. That, of course, is a major, major thing to keep an eye out for on this kind of track. A big crash is easy to happen, although there is quite a lot of room here, and you can run dual grooves. You can almost run free wide here without too much of an issue. Not something you want to do lap after lap, but these drivers will be looking to keep out of trouble early in this race. As Josh Mickelmore starts to line the pack up, getting that Mitch Motorsport car in the lead there. They've managed to get all of their cars in the top 10 again. P8 is Danny G, and that's the last of the Mitch Motorsport boys. But Michael Skurlock with the Crank Esports car is right on the outside there. Expect to see him hustling. Neil Pearson with the DPR car there. And, of course, Edward Foster with the SimShed car. So a lot of different teams up at the front. But Josh Mickelmore coming around to take the green. The pace car will soon be coming into the pit lane. And it's go, go, go for the ANZCAR Cup here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Josh Mickelmore getting a great jump there at the start, managing to get a good lead over his teammate Jason Martin. Jason Martin just slots in behind him with Michael Skurlock just falling a little bit further behind. You see Neil Pearson in the background just trying to climb his way up the field with Foster and Hamish Gallagher battling it out behind them. Danny G as well, just sitting there with Barry Neal. Good start there for Josh Mickelmore. As we got a car just losing it slightly, Kay Donnelly in the background. They managed to catch the car and keep it going. Almost a moment there. That's going to hurt his rear tyres. But up the front, Josh Mickelmore is holding that position. Expect to see him running a slightly higher line tonight. You can see already Skurlock just moving up to that high line at the moment to take advantage of that slight line height ability for this track. One of the big things here at Atlanta is the higher up you run, you can actually get a bit of a better run. Of course, you don't use the tyres as much, but it is a little bit slippery out there. You can see the cars are a bit nervous as they go around mid-corner. As Josh Mickelmore just gets a little bit loose on the exit of turn number 2 there. That's going to give Michael Skurlock the run down the inside to take first place from Josh Mickelmore. A good run there from Skurlock. He's managed to get the car back under control, get it back to a position where he likes. But pushing hard this early can cause the tyres to get a little bit warm. And we've got a spin for Christopher Finlay down towards the lower end of the grid. We'll just take a replay of that one, see what happened there for him. And it looks like he's just lost the rear there going through turn number 2, similar to what happened to Mickelmore, but he didn't catch it, unfortunately. A very big hit there for Christopher Finlay. And I imagine he'll be in pit lane getting those repairs done. Going to lose quite a lot of time there while we're under green, of course. Michael Skurlock has managed to get a good bit of a lead. Neil Pearson behind Josh Mickelmore at the moment. The main bit of action as we sit is down towards Barry Neal and Kai Turner, who are having a good little battle for positions 8 and 9 at the moment, as the front runners just start to slide into a single file position at the moment, not wanting to push too hard. Of course, you don't want to go too hard, too quick at a circuit like this. It's very easy to overheat those tyres if you get a lot of lateral movement on the car. You do tend to struggle quite a bit with the vehicle as those tyres get hotter and hotter, and they make it much harder to drive. Once those rears heat up to a certain point, these cars become very tricky to get running in that groove, running on that line, because the rear just steps out and all of a sudden you're chasing your car around the circuit and you lose an awful lot of time, an awful lot of speed, and an awful lot of track positions. Now just jumping down the order, we have Harry Anastakis there, making a good move on Aaron Dillon. He's got Jason Hardigan behind him. So those guys, sorry, Philip Worley, sorry. They're starting to make up some moves. Parry, one of the newer drivers this season. He's been running a lot in the ARCA series, our developmental series, and I believe this might be his first time up in the Cup that I recall. So good to see him up there. Good speed tonight as well. We saw in practice earlier he was actually top of the timesheet. So somebody to keep an eye on for, one of those new drivers to the series that definitely has a bit of speed underneath them. It's just whether they can keep that speed throughout the whole 160 laps here tonight at Atlanta. Meanwhile, up the front, Michael Skurlock has Josh Micklemore just slowly starting to catch him. Micklemore's managed to get the car back settled down, and it's starting to get a little bit better pace in the long run here. Expect to see a few different drivers getting a little bit better pace at the short run. Some drivers will have better pace in the long run. That's something that's quite typical here at Atlanta, as Jason Martin makes a move. Oh, as Michael Skurlock up into the wall. Michael Skurlock up into the wall. He's managed to keep the car going, but quite a lot of damage to the front right of that vehicle. That is going to be a disaster for his race. Aero is quite important here, and that is really going to affect him for the rest of this race. And I believe joined back up in the booth with Dave Douglas. How you going, Dave?
Yeah, good, Carl. Hopefully it's all sorted, we'll see. But yeah, interesting to see Skurlock there. Been keeping an eye on a 350 up in the fence there, running the high line around the track at the moment he was, and just getting too far up there and just a little bit too much speed going into the corner and carried it up into the wall. So a little bit of damage there, but hopefully he can keep going on. But yeah, we'll have a little bit of an effect throughout the rest of the race for him.
That's it. Hopefully it won't, of course, too much damage, but you always get trouble with the tyres when you've got damage like that. And of course, once you jump out of the draft from the car in front of you, you tend to lose a little bit of speed when you've got that damage on there. The car is not as slippery as it once was. We can see him trying to get back on Jason Martin at the moment, with Hamish Gallagher just right behind him, but Skurlock is favouring that high line.
Yeah, definitely. You'll have to bear with me tonight. I'm not sure if it's coming through clear or not, but I'm going to check in a second. But yeah, we're right on board with Danny G at the moment, and the Mitch Motorsports Camaro, I think, no, Chevy, running up in the 7th there, in behind Edward Foster, as you can see, riding on board. So now all the drivers are coming down to that low line, getting back down to that white line. They were sort of following the 350 of Skurlock there for a bit, but now that Pearson's inherited the lead. Oh, Danny G just touches the wall there, down the back straight. So just, it's easy to do, getting right up behind the car in front of you. Try not to hit that guy. You hit the wall, and yeah, the wall does poke out a bit where the safety barrier starts there. So easy to do.
Yeah, it's so easy to have that little bit of contact with the wall here. People do tend to run the higher line here at Atlanta, of course. It does favour it slightly, but there has been some slight changes to the surface with the most recent patch, which I think has caught out a few drivers who have been driving this track since before the changes, and it seems to have changed things just a tiny bit from the views from up here in the booth. But a few people are definitely struggling to get to terms with it. We saw it in practice as the caution flag comes out. Justin Howe there with the caution. So Justin Howe going up into the wall there, big damage, and then catching a couple of cars getting caught up in that as well. So Liam Ford, big impact on the front there. That is a big incident.
Yeah, it's a shame for Liam there. Most of the cars did a good job avoiding him there, but sometimes you've just got nowhere to go, and that was a big hit for a couple of those guys there. Yeah,
and just heard over the radios. Obviously, up in the commentary booth, we tend to listen to the radio, but the drivers were just saying this new smoke is really affecting them when the crashes happen. Since the last update, as Michael Skurlock does come into pit lane to get some of that damage repaired, that's going to drop him a little bit further back. And we can also see Aaron Dillon coming into pit lane as well. Liam's car there on fire. The smoke, you can just see the smoke levels there. Back beforehand, it was not nearly as smoky as that. But the smoke is really thick and acrid now. You can barely see through it.
Yeah, it's a cool little effect they've added. That's the new pace car as well, up in front of Pearson that they've also added. Not affiliated with any sort of maker models, and that looks pretty slick too. Yeah, the new space car. We got a bit of a view of it the other night at Phoenix, but obviously we're trying our best to keep focus on the race. But yeah, the new pace car, very cool looking vehicle in the iRacing livery, the official pace car for iRacing now. It's got that neat little look to it, and yeah, it does look much nicer than the old one, I must say. Yeah, it looks a bit more realistic, I guess. The other one was a bit of a box bloody what's it called? Minecrafty.
Minecraft or Eastern European Soviet bloc sort of style car, a bit of a Skoda or an FSO. But yeah, it does look a lot better than the old one. Of course, now Scullock's coming into the pit lane. That's going to help him out a little bit. He's going to be able to get some repairs done. Obviously, not ideal for him, but he's going to have to work his way up through a lot of cars now.
Yeah, but I suppose get in now and get it repaired as best you can. It does obviously put him on a different strategy now to the guys in front, so it could favour him come later in the race, but we'll have to wait and see for that. But yeah, you want to get that repaired as much as you can and take your medicine now early in the race.
Yeah, it can be quite painful when you're carrying damage in a race, and you just, especially if you've got a fast car to start with, it is such a handicap, and it makes you feel very frustrated when your car can't do the pace you want it to do.
Yeah, exactly, and it will actually wear the tyre. Well, this is my theory anyway. I feel like when you damage or scuff the guards, it actually gives you a lot more tyre wear on whatever corner it is what I've noticed. But whether or not that's true or not, who knows?
No, it's definitely one of those things, though, because of course you lose a little bit of aero and things like that, and all of those changes will affect the tyre wear of a vehicle, and also there's the psychological damage to the drivers as well. When you've got damage to a car, you've got to drive around that sort of psychological effect of being, oh, I've got damage to my car now, drat. You know, it can make it very hard because you've got to believe that the car is going to actually function as well as it was before almost, and it almost never does because you talk yourself out of it. So there's so many things, so many different little things that happen when you have a little crash like that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's never good crashing at all. You want to try and avoid it at all costs.
Wise words there from Dave Douglas. Don't crash in a race. Very, very true, that one. I don't think truer words have ever been spoken.
Am I coming through all right on your end there, Carl? You can hear me? I just want to make sure.
Yeah, you're loud and clear, Dave. I believe everybody can hear you, so that's some good news. It doesn't sound like I'm just talking to myself, which is usually popular.
Yeah, perfect, because I think it's a Telstra area problem. My phone's not even connecting now, so well, I'll deal with what I've got. I'll just call the race from the stream we've got here, so apologies if I get any names or call the cars wrong, but I'll do my best.
Hopefully things will work out well. It's nice to have somebody else up in the booth to talk to. It makes it that little bit easier. As they start coming round the final set of corners now, Neil Pearson's going to be in the lead with Josh Micklemore on the outside row. He's followed by Hamish Gallagher, Jason Martin down on the low side. There's a lot of those Mitch cars now. You can see all of the Mitch cars there in that top line, other than Jason Martin just down on that bottom line. So they could be in for a good run here at the start with all of their cars together. Neil Pearson gets a good jump away, though. He's managed to get a good restart there, getting a good little bit of a gap between himself and Josh Micklemore. You can see down at the bottom, Jason Martin trying to press the advantage. Foster behind him, knowing that he needs to get between those Mitch Motorsport cars to keep them from blocking him out. He's trying his best there to keep underneath Hamish Gallagher at the moment. Try and get ahead of him so he can slot up in front. Not able to do it just yet. Needs to get a little bit of a better run through the corner to be able to slot up in front of him. But the high line seems to be the slightly quicker line at the moment. We'll see how that goes on to the front straight as Neil Pearson has managed to get a good lead up in front. Foster and Hamish Gallagher battling there for 4th and 5th position.
Yeah, you got those guys battling side by side back there. Actually, Barry Neal, I think in the 22, I believe it is, in there having a nice run at the front. He seems to find his way up there, so you don't want to be running too wide for too long. It will wear these tyres out, and for me, this race, this track, you want to look up those tyres as much as you can. As Andrew Dyson, by the looks of it, is coming for a look up the inside of the 53 now over Foster.
Yeah, Andrew Dyson making a move. You can see Hamish Gallagher drop to that bottom line, so Foster's going to try his chances up top. You got Andrew Dyson, Kai Turner, and Barry Neal there behind Foster at the moment. Up front, they are sort of running a little bit single file. You've got Jason Martin just ducking out below. You can see from Barry Neal's view, the car's just moving around there. Oh, Hamish Gallagher gets a big slap oversteer there. That's going to cost him a little bit of speed down the front. He's going to drop back a little bit here, and that's going to give Foster the chance to get in front of him, as well as Andrew Dyson. Will he get in front? It's touch and go at the moment. He might be able to get it done on the exit, but it's very close between those two. That is a big moment for Gallagher. He managed to catch it well.
Yeah, certainly nice little save for Gallagher there, but not ideal. You will lose a bit of pace, but now he just got to get back in his rhythm and try and not do it again off the turn here, and he manages to do it quite nicely, so he'll get back in his rhythm and slot back in there behind Andrew Dyson. I think, is that Kai Turner and a 4.8 behind him, I believe, as well. So those guys will continue to race on here.
That's it. We've seen that a few times tonight, especially up here at the front. Those cars just getting that little bit of snap oversteer through the mid corner. A few times tonight, we've seen a few different drivers having that issue. So interesting to see how they're coping with that. Just jumping back a little bit to 19th position at the moment. Michael Skurlock having a charge through the field. He's made his way back up into the top 20 already. Obviously on fresher tyres than those around him. That's going to help out a little bit more adhesion there for that car. Just going up underneath Kai Donnelly at the moment, and Skurlock just charging his way through the field, trying to get back up to the front.
Yeah, he's having a good run there, so what you see here, he's going to rob Peter to pay Paul here for a bit, but it will get him back the track position he lost, and if it stays green, it'll work out for him, and as I said, it could come back to him at the end of the race here, but right now he's got the pace, so he might as well use it up, and if it goes green long enough, everybody will probably come in a pit as well with him. So yeah, good battle out there at the moment. He's carving his way up on the inside of the 144 there, and then he's got Lachlan Yoki on the outside and his teammate of Traher.
That's it. He's just coming up just straight past Traher there, so you can just see that pace advantage already. Jason Hardy in the next car to have Skurlock behind him. So Skurlock in little under a lap has made about 10 positions there, so that's quite an impressive little run early on. But as you say, robbing Peter to pay Paul, because you're going to use up that tyre advantage quite quickly. And he might just use up the tyres a bit too quickly here. If it is a long green run, he might start struggling before anybody else. But of course, he has got those slightly newer tyres, about 16 laps younger tyres than everybody else as well. So it might just pay off for him, but we'll have to see how that goes a little bit later in this race.
Yeah, absolutely. It'd be a good one to keep an eye on, because yeah, he's gonna get to the front of this field before too long, and then yeah, if he goes green long enough, he's got about 16 laps of extra fuel on board as well. So yeah, it might play into his hands here. It might be a stroke of genius, but we'll keep an eye on that one.
We will. And up the front, there is a battle between Mitch Motorsport teammates Jason Martin and Danny G at the moment. They're running side by side, keeping Foster behind them at the moment. So good positioning for their cars. That's allowing Hamish Gallagher to try and work his way back up there. But you can see Skurlock has already caught that front running pack. He's just got past Andrew Dyson, and he's right behind Foster already, who's just getting past Jason Martin. Foster making the move work there, managing to get up past Jason Martin, and
oh, he's up high again on the track there. He's not going to do the same thing again. He gets it done though. He keeps it down there and locked into that high line. So he's just moved up on the outside of 53, past him now down the front straight, and he's going to start working on the guys in front of him, which would be the Mitch cars.
He does make a little bit of contact on the dogleg though, not enough to cause any major issue. It was just a slight glance off the paint, so that beautiful paint job is now a bit more scuffed than it was before. But he's going to quickly make a move on Danny G now, straight underneath him, straight past him. Meanwhile, just looking through the field, we saw Aaron Dillon, I believe, coming in for a pit stop as well, and don't think it's worked out quite as well for him, so possibly some trouble for Dillon. I think he actually had to park the car, so issues for Dillon there, so he didn't make it out with those tyres, unfortunately. Skurlock, I think, is the only driver out there that came in for the tyres predominantly on that stop, and it is working out very well for him at the moment. So we can see up the front there, Neil Pearson leading with Michael Skurlock in second, and Michael Skurlock in second and Josh Mickelmore there in third. Sorry, I had to correct myself there because I didn't even think Skurlock had made it up that quick. But he's charging through the field, and with this pace, you're going to see him come past Pearson and maybe make up some good ground. So we could see Skurlock getting a good little bit of a lead here. And if it remains green, if those tyres hold on, you could see Skurlock, this move actually paying off for Skurlock if the rest of the race remains green. Of course, we did say there's probably going to be about 2 stops for tyres tonight. So Skurlock will be using up his full set, which could come to affect him later on in the race as we hit lap 30 with 130 laps remaining. this could come back to to really bite him towards the tail end of this race if there is a caution. But if it remains green, Skurlock could be in contention here with that off-kilter strategy. So we'll see how that one works out for him. And he's already pulling almost a second gap over Neil Pearson. He is just flying away at the moment as those other cars start to struggle for pace. A little bit further back, we have Trahir, his teammate Luke Trahir in the 43, battling with Lachlan Urquio on the outside there. Those two are battling away for 12th and 13th position at the moment. Up the front, it is pretty much single file, although there are a couple of cars getting closer to each other than they were before.
Yeah, the 53 starting to go to work on the 24 here at DNG. Looking to possibly make a move in the not too distant future here as he runs right up behind him here. Is a good on-board shot of off the back of the 24 car looking back towards the 53 of Edward Foster, who just goes right down to that white line. It seems like he's just got that little bit of extra pace at the moment. We'll see if he tries to make a move down here into 3.
Yeah, we'll see if he can make that one stick with Foster. Easier said than done sometimes. Sometimes it's not the easiest track to pass on at Atlanta. As the caution flag comes out again with Bill Hickey involved in this one. We'll jump back and see what was happened.
Big bad Billy Hickey. He's coming off. Oh, he gets the tank slapper like Hamish Gallagher did, but unfortunately wasn't able to bring the car back. Gets up into the outside wall and then still carries it right down to the inside wall. And big hit for the 26 down on the inside wall there. There's no safety barrier down there, so that one will hurt.
Yeah, I hope he let go of the wheels. He rolls up to the top there and very close there.
Hunter. I think that was Hunter that just snuck through there.
Very close there. He might get a warning for that one for not holding the brake. That's going to affect Skurlock though. That's going to really affect that strategy that he's on, and he's actually staying out. He's not pitting.
Yep, so it's opposite effect now. So those guys are going to do exactly what Skurlock did to them. But obviously Skurlock's a single car, whereas he was passing the field. So they're going to eat him up now and expect to see him drop right back as you see the pit road lights are coming on there. That was closed just as the leader went past, and now the pit road is open again. Yeah,
that's it. And it's that's ruined his strategy. I mean, a bit of an unfortunate strategy because of that damage as well, so it's going to affect him a little bit in that respect, but it's going to make things a lot harder for him now, and it's going to be an interesting restart as well because you're going to have a car on some slightly worn tyres out on the front there. He's done about 30 laps on those tyres. Everybody else is going to be on nice, fresh slicks, so they're going to have that grip advantage on that restart, but of course, Skurlock is the one they have to follow.
Now, did Mickelmore jump Pearson there, or was he already in the lead at that point? Because there might be a change for, well, not leading, but Skurlock's obviously going to be leading, but there might have been a position change in the pits there.
I'm just thinking back now. I think that was a change for position, because yes, that was a change for position there. Mickelmore getting ahead of Neil Pearson. I'm just going to jump back and see if I can find out what happened there.
It was a good stop for the boys in the Monster Energy uniform for Josh Mickelmore's car there. But yeah, so he's going to line up outside Skurlock here for the restart. And yeah, obviously on those fresh tyres. So it's going to be interesting to see how the field manages get through Skurlock here. He doesn't have to move at the road at all, but he's just got to hold his line, and hopefully they can all manage to get past without any further incident.
That's it. Yeah, Skurlock just had, Mickelmore just had a very good restart there. Of course, qualifying on pole actually helped him out a lot. Neil Pearson was about 2 more pit boxes behind Josh Mickelmore there, and that kind of affected him on that restart. So paid off there. I was going to say with that one as well, there was a good battle down towards the back of the pack there. We were having 2 to 3 cars wide just before that caution came out. It was starting to get very juicy down towards the back there, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens with the rest of this race, and it's going to be a very hard restart for Michael Skurlock.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one. So it was almost 50-50 split there. So Skurlock put about 16 laps on those guys. So, and then they just did about 16 laps more than I think they caution came out in lap 32 or 33. So it's almost even Stevens. But yeah, as I mentioned before, Skurlock was chasing down a pack of a field of cars, whereas he's a single car, so they're all going to go streaming by him now.
Yeah, he's going to really struggle on this restart, and of course, one of the tricky things on the restarts, of course, is you sort of, especially on these old tires, you have to be careful not to loop the car. I don't imagine we'll see Skurlock doing it, but it can be pretty tricky restarting on these old tires in these cup cars because they have an awful lot of power, and when those rear tires are a little bit worn, they do lose a lot of grip.
Yeah, Edward's not going to like this, but I'm going to say cast your mind back a couple of seasons where I think it was close to 5 to go, or it might have even been green white checker, but the 53 Edward Foster was starting on old tyres here and almost took out the whole field on a restart here. So yeah, easy to do. The champ's done it. So keep an eye out for a possibly bit of wheel spin off the start here.
Yeah, you're going to be popular for mentioning that one. That's the race we're not allowed to mention ever again, apparently. But yeah, it's an easy thing to do, unfortunately.
I'm brave enough, mate. You'll be right.
Pace car will be coming in this lap, and you're going to see Michael Skurlock lead away. You might see him get a bit of a decent leap at the start here because, of course, the leader has the prerogative to start. And he's going to drop the hammer straight away. He gets a good drive away here, but it's when they come to the corners, that's where Skurlock's going to start struggling.
Yeah, so he goes early, gets a nice restart there on those old tyres, but you watch the field, they'll just sort of catch him down the back straight and then stream on by. Nothing you can do here, but yeah, just try and hold your line and try not to use up more of the tyre that you've already used.
That's it. It's damage control now for Michael Skurlock to see how well he can keep it.
Pearson's making another move down, so Josh wasn't in front for too long, so Pearson makes that move straight down the inside of the 31, and he's going to take the lead of the race on this lap by, which is lap 37 of 160 tonight.
Yeah, a good start there for Neil Pearson. We've seen that a few times this season. Pearson having a great restart. As Josh Mickelmore now gets the over and under on Pearson. He's going to try and get underneath him as Skurlock gets very close to the wall once more. Not going to want to do that too many times.
No, he's flirting with danger up there tonight. You must think he's got his Kyle Larson boots on or something, mate. But yeah, he was running that top line. He's ripping the lip, as he would say. And yeah, as I said, flirting with a bit of danger. He's already hit it once, but he's going to earn his second Atlanta stripe if he keeps that up. We're going to go 3 wide down in the turn 3 there as well. Couple colours got on the inside of the 350 of Skurlock as a battle for the lead rages on here between the 31 and the 9 of Pearson, and not too far behind Edward Foster and Denny G's teammate. Yeah,
it's there's some serious battles going on along this track at the moment. A little bit further back, you had Barry Neal, Hamish Gallagher, and I think it was Lachlan Urquio, all 3 wide down the back straight with Michael Skurlock there as well. So they're starting to find out a bit. People are starting to play a little bit harder than they were before.
Yeah, definitely. As we look back in the field here, we got the 144 Parry Anastakis, who's seems to be having a good run tonight, up into 16th position now. The big angry pack of cars behind him.
Some seriously angry cars behind him, but he's having a good run at the moment. Anastakis having a good run this season. One of the newer drivers, we've seen him in the ARCA series, and he's been having some good pace there. We've seen he's got some good speed when he needs it. It's just whether he can carry it through the whole of a cup race. That's the big question. Up the front, though, we've got Josh Mickelmore now just going up on the outside of Neil Pearson and going for the lead as they cross the line. Josh Mickelmore there is going to try and hold that high line, keep Pearson underneath him, try and carry the speed through, and then try and slot in front of him. Just behind there, you've got Foster as well. But at the moment, Josh Mickelmore getting back in the lead for this race.
Yeah, good move by the 31 down the outside as the 9 was getting right down on that white line as far as you dare to go before you start to scrape the apron and it start to get loose there. So Edward Foster's seen the move up in front. Let's see if he can try and replicate the same thing and fancies his chances having a crack at the 9 here of Neil Pearson.
Yeah, you can see he's looking quite racy at the moment. He was putting a bit of pressure on Pearson, trying to force him to go a little bit lower, but Pearson not falling for it, just keeping his line at the moment, holding position and not pushing too hard on that car.
Yeah, definitely. And a guy who's having a good run tonight is Kai Turner. He's still hanging around. I think he's about 6th or 7th up there, but Yeah, I haven't seen him this year yet. Maybe once earlier in the round, but yeah, he's doing a great job tonight up there in the top 6 or 7.
Yeah, Kai Turner just sitting sixth, just behind Jason Martin. He's in a Jason sandwich at the moment with Martin and Hartigan behind him, but having a good run there and getting a good position. So good to see him back in the field and good to see him having a good run as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got to get used to the MFR cars. That's part of the MFR team there, and the Mickey Molly Chevrolet at the MFR cars for this year. A little bit different to what they have been usually, but Dan Stephen does a great job with the paint work on those cars, I believe, and continuing to do that in 2021.
Yeah, we've not seen too many of the MFR cars around this season. They've been a little bit quiet at the start of the season, but we're starting to see them coming back and back in some strength as well, which is always good. A lot of seasoned drivers in that team as well, so nice to see them back, and especially back towards the front of the pack too.
Yeah, absolutely. Give us an update on the 350. I can't go back and have a look tonight. I've only limited resources here tonight. So where's the 350? Sorry, the 350 sitting at the moment, Carl?
So 350 is down there in 27th at the moment, just dropping back and back now as Greg Spencer goes underneath him. He's got Matt Hunter for company now, but Skurlock really just dropping back from that start. He's lost around about 8 to 9 seconds on the leaders, and he is not able to put any pace in that vehicle, so struggling for the time, but it could come back to him if we get a caution in the next couple of laps.
Yeah, well, that's it. So he's got to go with what he's got now, but yeah, there's nothing you can do. It's crazy what tyres can do, so all he can do now is just cruise around. He'll be still going as hard as he can pretty much, but grip is everything out here.
Yeah, that's it. It's one of the things about motorsport is when it's going good, you can look like an absolute superstar, but then you can just have a caution fall at the wrong time, be on the wrong tyres, and then all of a sudden you have absolutely nothing.
Yeah, definitely. As the tighten up here at the front here, the top three just tighten up a bit. Josh getting right down on that apron, right down on that white line. Using every part of the track he can right there, and
as Neil Pearson just gets up into the wall, just a glancing hit onto the wall there for Pearson, but that did jot him across the track a little bit. We'll give Foster a chance for a little bit of a run.
Yeah, it was a bit of an awkward contact down there. I saw him just sort of jump out of line there. I was wondering what happened there, but yeah, obviously just getting up too high, as we said earlier in the race. Hamish Kelly did the same thing. It's a strange track, this one, where it would go down the back straight there. It sort of almost feeds you in, like, yeah, it's a false sense of security. You think, yep, it's straight here, but there must be a slight curve at the end there, and it just it can catch you out.
Yeah, especially with the safer barrier going around there, it just juts out that little bit, and it's so easy to catch you out. Of course, people do tend to like to run that higher line here, and as you come onto the dog leg as well, of course, that really does throw it out a little bit, because you sort of expect it to be kind of more curved and straight, and the barrier does straighten off that little bit, which can catch you out sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. The old dog leg down the front there, but sorry, mate. There's a big pack up the front here, and these guys are looking racy. This looks dangerous in here. We've got Aiden Schultz there. He's about to get past by the 144. We've got Josh Carroll Walden in the blue car and the blue 35 behind those guys. So, yeah, a bit of action going on here. These guys have been a bit of 2 wide, 3 wide action going through here.
Yeah, that's it. And just up ahead, we've got Parry and Philip Worley as well. So we've got some serious pack racing going on down towards the back here. Just a bit further up the field, Luke Trahere has managed to run away from that back group with Mirko Dortnak in the middle. So Aiden Schultz currently leads that second big pack of cars down there in 14th place. And from there downwards, it is pretty much a big battle.
Yeah, absolutely. As we see Luke Trahere, as Jason Hardigan comes to pit road. So whether that's a strategy move or not, or that's an unscheduled stop, we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, weird one there. I think maybe Hardigan is having to retire that car because he stopped into pit road and jumped out of the car. So possibly some kind of issue for Hardigan as he disconnects from the race. So a real shame there to lose Jason Hardigan. Having a good run up there in the top 5, I think he was, top 6 at least. So Jason Hardigan dropping out, unfortunately, some kind of technical issue for him.
Yeah, might have an expiring motor or something there, but obviously has to take the car behind the wall and doesn't look like he'll take any further part in this race tonight. As Barry Neal's starting to get racy up here at the front in front of Raymond Jaeger, and he's got Lachlan on his outside as he gets sideways, nearly contact on the exit there. I think they were able to avoid it, but yeah, nice little battle going on here.
So very close there, cigarette paper between those two cars, but very close racing there. Barry Neal with that fantastic livery on that car. Absolutely love the look of that vehicle. But we can see there Lachlan Urquhart just making the move and getting past there. He's got Hamish Gallagher to chase down next, but Barry Neal's not given up just at this moment in the Gotcha Racing team. He's trying his best to get back onto the back of Lockie, and he's going to get down the inside now. See what he can do right here. Will he be able to get past Lachlan Urquhart or not? And looks like Justin Witcher may have had a crash as well as we're going here. Oh, as Barry Neal gets caught by Lachlan Urquhart as well. With just a slight tap on the front of those two cars as they've got into each other again. Barry Neal and Lachlan Urquhart at the moment just having a big moment there. That is going to give Luke Trahir the chance to actually make a big jump with Raymond Jaeger as well. Justin Witcher down there on the inside there. He's going to have to pit in that car, but big moments there for the cars of Urquhart and Neal. That was a big moment.
We've got a big race going on here with Gallagher on the inside of Kai Turner at the moment. Those guys are getting nice and close through turn 1 and 2 there as they run side by side down into turn 3. And Hamish Gallagher's going to get clear and get that job done as the 408 tries to fight back, but not much he can do there. He might try to sneak back up the inside, but he might be better off just sitting behind there and saving his gear. Or you can race hard on down there and dive down into 1 as he just sits in behind. So he could have made a dive there, but a wise head on old Kai Turner, so he's just going to sit there and save his gears. No point racing this early in the race. Not even halfway through yet.
Yeah, that's it. There's no need to push too hard as we have 103 laps remaining of this race. We're on lap 57 at the moment, and you can see these cars are starting to get a little bit looser now as they're starting to get towards the end, towards the middle of their stints now, as they've done around about 25 laps on these tyres. You can hear the cars lifting off a little bit mid-corner and just starting to struggle for grip as they go round. We're going to see a little bit more of that racing starting to come up behind Kai Turner, with Raymond Jaeger, Luke Trahir and Lachlan Urquhart. Lachlan Urquhart in the lead of that pack as Trahir just touches the barrier slightly there. He's managed to keep it straight, but that's going to give Raymond Jaeger the chance to get ahead of him now, and he's going to have to battle out with Lachlan Urquhart.
Yeah, it was almost a bit of awkward contact there for Jaeger, but he was awake to it and got down on the inside there and got the move done. But yeah, see a couple of those Barley cars having a fight with Aiden Schultz tonight, and out here on his own tonight. No Riley, he couldn't make the race tonight. The budget wouldn't allow it, so couldn't get the truck down here. As you see him on the screen, so he's still battling with the 35. They've been like that for the last 2 laps. From what I can see, as Josh is still trying to make that pass. So doing a good job tonight. Aiden's had some bad luck lately, but keeping all the pedals straight for now. So hopefully he can stay on the lead lap and continue this good run. As I think that's James Robbie on the outside in the 41, which is a new colour for this week. So that's throwing me off. So tell me if that's not James Robbie, but yeah, and that might be Reese behind him as well.
Yeah, James Robbie there, and yeah, James Robbie there. Up there, Ruben Phelps as well, just behind him. Yeah, James Robbie there, Pace Syndicate. Gets loose on the exit of the corner. He's managed to keep it going, but that's forced Aiden Schultz to have to go down, and that's cost him those positions. Aiden Schultz doing a bit of avoiding manoeuvre there just to get out of line, just to avoid a bit of incident there as they checked up. But you say Aiden Schultz's luck, again, it strikes, unfortunately for him. But that's really given James Robbie the chance to get out in front of this pack and leapfrog a lot of vehicles.
That was a good save, though. Hopefully he doesn't rewatch this replay and hear me putting the mocker on him there. But luckily he saves it. No damage, so he'll be able to keep trucking on here and hopefully keep it straight for the rest of the race.
And up the front, we've got Foster and Danny G now side by side. Danny G on the inside, Foster on the outside in the 53-24 fight. 24, the orange Mitch Motorsport car, of course. Foster looks to have made the pass on Danny G. He's just going to run that high line. He should get better run off the corner and then slot down in front of that Mitch Motorsport car. But the Joker SimShed liveried car of Edward Foster has taken up into third position there. So Foster's starting to get a bit of a charge as we go a little bit longer in this run.
Yep, so he's obviously done a little bit of tyre saving here at some
the
point.
caution is out.
We get a caution.
As Greg Spencer having a big moment down the back straight. Somebody else as well.
Turn two.
Oh, Aiden Schultz. Sorry, Aiden Schultz. Aiden Schultz getting hit by Matthew Raymond, I think it was. So I'll tell you what happened. Aiden Schultz just losing a bit of front grip there. He actually lost the rear, I think, on the exit of turn number 2 and has gone down into Raymond there, and big crash down the back straight. Aiden Schultz has got a bit of damage, but it should be okay for the rest of the race, but unlucky there for Schultz.
Yeah, it's a shame for those guys. I know Matty Raymond hasn't had much luck this year as well. His luck's got a turn just like Aiden, so for some reason those boys have actually found each other on track tonight and turned their luck into one big mess. So, yeah, unfortunate for Matty Raymond there, and Aiden Schultz, I expect a message after the race, probably having a go at me for putting the mocker on him now.
Yeah, putting the curse on. Now, we've got some interesting stuff in the pit lane. We've got Neil Pearson, Edward Foster staying out, as well as Lachlan Urquio and Philip Worley. So a few people sticking it out there. I think also JCW staying out there. Josh Micklemore has come in the pit lane. All the Mitch Motorsport cars coming into pit lane. So those guys have come into the pit lane, coming in for another pit stop here on lap 64. We've got 96 laps remaining. So those guys have only got one set of tyres left now for the rest of this race, whereas people like Foster and Pearson will have an extra set left. So it's going to be interesting to see how that shakes out as the race goes on.
Yeah, you can't see me from where you are, but I'm rubbing my hands together here. This is great for the race. So we've got a few split strategies here. So yeah, we're going to throw the marbles up in the air here, and just like Daytona, and see where they all land. But yeah, I love this. I love a bit of different strategies going on. So we'll see how it all works out for everybody. But yeah, usually when you split the strategy, you want to have a few cars with you, and Pearson and Edward have got at least 10 cars, I believe, that stay with them. So we'll see what happens here.
Yeah, everybody down to Phil Otto there in 9th position have stayed out on the track. So everybody down to P9 are on those older tyres. Then you have Josh Micklemore, who is the first of those guys to take a pit stop. So be interesting to see what happens with them.
Yeah, I don't want to call it early, but if we get another caution, well, if we get another 2 cautions towards the end of this race and they're split pretty evenly, I reckon the winner's going to come from one of those cars that stayed out here and just save that extra set of tyres for the end of the race, possibly.
That's it. It's going to really pay off for them if we get a caution a little bit later on now. Well, second caution, I should say. If it remains green, it could really affect those guys. But we have seen some interesting results here at Atlanta in the past. We've seen some interesting results in ANZCAR at the past with these strange strategy recalls. The one that I can recall best is Mirko Dortnak's win a few years back, where he came in seemingly from nowhere for a pit stop and ended up almost a lap in front of the field because of that early stop winning the race. But strategies can become interesting sometimes.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love a good strategy race. Keeps us on our toes, keeps it entertaining as well. So, yeah, you just never know who's going to pop up where and who's going to get the W here tonight. But, yeah, it's just going to be interesting to see how this goes, because these cars at the back with the fresh tyres, they've got a lot more cars to get through, so it can get messy as well. So expect to see some slicing and dicing here.
Well, that's the big thing, isn't it, now? Because you're going to have cars on those fresh tyres, having to battle cars on tyres that are 30 laps old now. So those cars are going to be much slower through those corners. And you could possibly see a caution coming out relatively quickly here if there is a incident, say, in the top from about 7th down. You could see a lot of those cars that came in for those fresh tyres getting caught up in that and absolutely ruining their race. So this is where sometimes staying out can pay off. If an incident in that mid-pack happens, you can sometimes get lucky and avoid that wreck.
Yeah, that's it. And a lot of times you'll see if you're down the order, a lot of the guys will just throw caution to the wind. But it's good to see the 2 lead cars at the front there of Foster and Pearson, so they were right up in their battle there. They stayed out, so none of this follow the leader stuff. They've got their own agenda. They're going to stick to it and see where they come up.
That's it. It's going to be interesting here. And of course, the big thing is going to be the wheel spin on this restart. As we said before in that last caution with Skurlock, it's going to be worse for these guys as their tyres are much, much older. So we could possibly see a few cars struggling on this start as the pace car is going to come in. Neil Pearson's going to lead away. And we go back to green flag racing here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Big moment. Wally, I think, and Lachlan Urpio, big wheel spin there. That's taken
James Drobby.
Robbie on the inside. James Robbie, unfortunate position there, and that really, really affected him on that restart. That wheel spin catching them out.
Yeah, it's a shame for James Robbie. He's having a good night, and he hasn't had too many of those lately. So, yeah, he's going to go all the way to the back of the field here, and that did not work out at all. But we called the wheel spin on the restarts, and even Pearson, the leader, the championship leader as well, also got loose on that restart. It was lucky to not do any more damage or cause any accidents there as well. So, but we're green flag racing here, so now we've got the 9 out front ahead of the 53 of Edward Foster. So you see JCW up on the high side there. Our first car with fresh tyres, I think, is the 24 or the 31. It would be the 24.
Hamish Gallagher, 13. Hamish Gallagher, who's slicing his way up the field at the moment. He's in the leader and he's just getting past Foster right now. So those cars on those fresh tyres are absolutely siving their way through. So you can see there the Mitch Motorsport cars just coming through like a steam train, just passing Foster right now. Neil Pearson is going to get caught up to quite quickly as they go around this corner. But you're going to just watch these cars just drop off the pack, fall down to the mid-pack at the moment. But what they are hoping for now is a couple of cautions to come out in this race a little bit later on to give them the opportunity to get those fresher tyres. So as they go around, Neil Pearson just losing that lead now. As you can see, the Mitch Motorsport train flying their way through with Raymond Yeager there in the background coming up. Good run for Raymond Yeager, getting up into the top 5, which will soon be the top 4 for him. You can see a little bit further back. Looks like Ruben Phelps just getting into the back. Oh, around almost goes. Mirko Dortnack just almost loses the car there, manages to save it. But a big moment there for Dortnack. Lucky for him not to lose that car. But a few cars there getting caught up, and there's a bit of carnage down in the mid-pack as these cars are on different strategies now. Those split strategies are starting to really throw a spanner in the works for a few of these drivers. As up the front, Hamish Gallagher now leads and is going to try and get a bit of an advantage now, try and run away from the rest of the pack, like we saw him doing in the truck race on Monday, where he got the win. A good win for Hamish Gallagher there. Danny G just behind him with Josh Mickelmore. Danny G, of course, wanting to get a repeat of last time out in Phoenix and get another victory. Oh, 3 wide across the line for Neil Pearson. And Luke Traher. Luke Traher just so close. Oh, Neil Pearson running up there into Luke Traher. That was very, very close. They were very, very close there to a big accident as Barry Neal was on the bottom line there. That could have been an enormous accident. Very lucky to get away with that one. That lit up the drivers' channels. So sorry for a little bit of quietness there. I was trying to listen into the gossip. As Bradley Allison a little bit further back in front of Edward Foster at the moment has a near miss as well. Those drivers on those old tyres seem to be really struggling at the moment. Of course, when you go out there on old tyres, when you're out there on old tyres, they need some time to get back up to temperature, and they, of course, don't handle like they used to, so can really throw you out when you're driving them. But you can see the cars are getting very, very close at the moment between all of those drivers. It's a bit tricky to know exactly where to look, as we're currently following Luke Traher and Barry Neal up there at the front, but a bit further back. I'll just get to jump back to Edward Foster. There was a big moment there between Foster, and he's got a couple of cars coming up. Greg Spence, who's coming up to him at the moment, and just underneath him, the 18th of Paul Daniel in his first Cup race as well. Paul Daniel there in the Fireworks King car, making the move up on Foster up into 14th position, but Foster just hemorrhaging positions as they go round. A little bit further up is Neil Pearson, who's going to fall victim to Paul Daniel as well any moment now as they go around the corner, but you can just see those older tyres are really starting to struggle with the pace for this race. But of course, they are going to hope that it comes back to them. They're about 1 second a lap slower than the leaders at the moment. Of course, those lead cars will start plateauing and start to get similar pace as this race goes on, but it's going to be a while before things get back to normal. And just looking through the field now, we've got some good racing going on between Barry Neal and Luke Trahir. It was Mirko Dortnak and Barry Neal. Sorry, some similarly coloured cars, and it makes it tricky when you're far away. But Ruben Phelps up there again. Ruben Phelps, another star drive for the rookie this season, having another good run up there in the top 10 at the moment. Barry Neal, Mirko Dortnak, Ruben Phelps all battling positions. You can see Barry Neal going down the inside at the moment. Mirko Dortnak getting very close there. He almost makes contact, has to lift out a little bit. That's going to give Barry Neal the opportunity to get past him. And that's going to cost Ruben Phelps very slightly behind him. You can see Ruben just dropping down to the low line to try and get past Mirko Dortnak. He's got a good run at the moment, getting a good bit of draft from Barry Neal. Those two are on the bottom line. They almost make contact into turn one there. Very close. Ruben Phelps just having to lift out slightly for that one. Really, really close action between those guys up the front. That's giving Mirko Dortnak a chance to get a bit of a run again. So action is all across the field at the moment. Just getting an idea where to look can be pretty tricky in a race like this. But great battling. You can see side by side still for Barry Neal and Mirko Dortnak. We're watching from the viewpoint of Ruben Phelps there in the Activity Hub Barley car. And again, as I say, just great first season for Ruben Phelps. Barry Neal, of course, having a good run as well tonight. And we've seen this a few times from Barry Neal. He's been having much better runs this season and really improving. Up the front, though, we've got a good battle going on for the lead as Danny G goes down underneath Hamish Gallagher. Josh Mickelmore there in the middle, trying to force the issue and trying to get himself up there for the battle. A little bit further back goes Roman Jaeger watching on. He's going to try and get himself up into this fight. As you can see there, Danny G taking the lead away from Hamish Gallagher. Josh Mickelmore now in the bottom row, pushing Hamish Gallagher a little bit higher as they lose a little bit of traction mid-corner. And that's going to give Raymond Jaeger the opportunity to get a good run down here on the front straight. Raymond Jaeger and Hamish Gallagher are side by side at the moment, coming into turn one. You can see Hamish Gallagher up on the high line. He's going to have a little bit of a better exit here, but can Jaeger hold it, get a good run off the corner? He's going to try and see what he can do, but Josh Mickelmore moving up to Hamish Gallagher, giving him a little bit of a draft, getting him ahead of Jaeger. That was some fast and furious action there. Brilliant driving there from all involved. Great to see that battle up the front. So close. As the caution flag flies again, this could be disaster for the cars that came in. This could really affect them. As Paul Daniel, I think. Paul Daniel is involved in that one. We're going to have a look back. And I think that's him on the low line. Paul Daniel having a big incident going up into the wall and going down. And oh, huge. Paul Daniel going into one of the DPR cars. Stephen Williams going down into Stephen Williams and T-boning Stephen Williams. That was a big incident towards the back there. Stephen Williams, unfortunate passenger in that one. But with this caution on lap 83, sorry, this is going to help those guys that stayed out. So the drivers that came in have got done about 20 laps on these tyres. So all of those drivers that came into the pit lane beforehand will probably stay out there, as they've only got one set of tyres left. You're going to see a lot of cars coming in now for fresh tyres. That's going to really make some difference. Oh, who was that? Was that Foster? Both of the Simrigs cars going into each other. That's caused Foster to have to go across the grass. Evasive action there. So Foster coming in, one of the Simrigs cars spinning in front of him, and Foster having to go across the grass. That's going to cost him dearly. He may even get a penalty for that. But both the Simrigs cars there as well. That is a disaster coming into pit lane for what could be a race-winning strategy. Just looks like the DPR car number 9 of Neil Pearson, losing it as he comes into pit lane. Just too much on the brakes there and spinning it around. Foster having to take the evasive action across the grass. His teammate having to turn it in as well there. That is disastrous for all of those cars. Probably going to see penalties for a couple of those cars, because being out of control as you go across the line there is not a good thing, and that's really going to affect a lot of those cars in those positions. Foster, of course, is going to have to go around again and pit in this time round. But that is a bit of a disaster for those vehicles. Absolute madness there coming into pit lane. We don't usually see pit lane being that hectic, but definitely one of those moments that really is going to change the outcome of this race. That's going to be a big effect on this one. Disastrous, you can say, for those cars coming into pit lane. So up the front, we have Danny G in the lead still, in front of his teammates of Josh Micklemore and Hamish Gallagher, with Raymond Yeager there sitting in 4th, Jason Martin 5th, Kai Turner having a great return to the series in 6th, Mirko Dortnak in 7th, with Barry Neal 8th, Luke Trehier in 9th, and Bradley Allison in 10th place. So we'll have to wait and see if Foster actually ends up with a penalty on that one, because we won't be able to tell until the race goes green. Hopefully he will get free scot-free, because that was an unfortunate place to be at the wrong place, wrong time for him there. That's not what you want to have to happen. Quite a few cars have dropped off the lead lap as well. We've got 26 cars on the lead lap. Matthew Raymond is the last of those cars at the moment, but quite a few cars dropping off the lead lap now from those incidents as we start to go 2 by 2 again.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting from here, Carl. Touch wood, we've seen the backside of my internet problems. We'll see what happens, but yeah, it was a real hard to hear there, so I just dropped out for a bit, but hopefully we're back here. But looking forward to the end of this race. We've still got, what have we got, about 74 laps left by the looks of it?
74 laps, yeah, we've still got a long way to go. Still a lot of laps to go in this race, and we've got cars that are on some very differing strategies as well. So we saw a lot of those cars that stayed out came into pit lane, got those fresh tyres, and we saw also Skurlock pitting as well. So I think that might be Skurlock's last set of tyres, but he is 2 laps down, so he's got to really hope for some miracles to get back into this race. As they come around for the green flag, Danny G is going to lead it away. Doesn't get the best of starts there, but on those older tyres, we saw it can be pretty tricky. Everybody does get away cleanly. No wheel spin and no spinning, though, for the majority of the pack. That's good to see.
Yeah, is that all Mitch cars at the front? 1, 2, 3, and 4 it is too. And so these boys have come right to the top here. They're joined by Raymond Yeager, I think it is, in a 23 on the outside down of the Activity Bali Hub cars. Having a good showing here now. He's worked his way into a good position.
Ooh,
so
and we've got the caution flag out again.
Oh, we got a caution. Must be at the back of the field here somewhere.
S Patton, I believe, involved in that one. I'm trying to see what happened. Just looks like he's had a big moment, lost the rear of the car. I found him on the infield. That's the obvious one for me. But just trying to have a look through, see if there's anyone else I can spot with that one. But it looks like it might have been S Patton just losing it down the back straight there.
Yeah, unfortunately, you'll have to talk us through that one, Carl. I don't have anything to go back on here. I can only just choose what's in front of me. So, yeah, talk us through that, haven't they, mate?
Yeah, so unfortunately, it just looks like S Patton's just lost the car there. He was on the older tyres there, and it looks like he's just lost it coming out of turn number 2 down the back straight and lost the car a little bit. He's managed to keep it going, but the caution did come out. So the caution flag is back out again, as we often say in racing. Caution breeds cautions. And it's happened again. We've seen that caution flag come out shortly after the first flag has fallen. So a couple of cars coming down the pit lane. Gary Wellman coming into pit lane, as well as seeing if I can spot that. Gary Wellman and somebody else. Can't see who that is at the moment. But a couple of cars coming into pit lane. None of the leaders, though, choosing to roll the dice here. So this is going to help a few cars get their laps back, of course. This is going to be great for James Robbie, who was very unfortunate earlier in the race. We saw him have a big moment in that car, a little bit beaten up, but he's going to get the lucky dog, gets around there and gets back on the lead lap. So he's going to be able to rejoin at the back on the lead lap this time. So good news for James Robbie. That's going to be 27 cars on that lead lap. But now the leaders have to do it again, have to restart on those cooling, worn tyres, which is never an easy task. Track temperature has dropped by about 4 or 5 degrees now from what it was at the start of this race. So the track temperature is dropping. That's going to help for tyre wear, but it's going to hurt for tyre warm-up, of course. So these guys will just struggle a little bit at the start there, and we could see a couple of cars going around again, as they are now on. We've now got cars on multiple different strategies out on the track. And of course, we didn't really get to see if anyone in that incident in pit lane had to serve a penalty, from what I could see. So it looks like everybody might have gotten away with that one okay, hopefully. So that should be good news for them. But we didn't get much green running there, so they may have to come in once the green flag comes back out again. We'll have to keep an eye on that one. We'll keep an eye on Foster and Pearson, of course, the two main cars involved in that big kerfuffle in pit lane on the last caution. But Danny G leads for the Mitch Motorsport team, with a Mitch Motorsport 1, 2, 3, 4 at the moment, with Josh Mickelmore, Hamish Gallagher and Jason Martin, with Raymond Yeager in the Activity Hub Barley car in 5th place, Kai Turner in the MFR car in 6th, Barry Neal in the Gotcha Racing car 7th, Mirko Dortnack in the Mirko Dortnack Special in 8th, Luke Trahir in the Crank Esports car in 9th, and the second of the Activity Hub Barley cars in the top 10, Brad Allison in 10th place. So they'll start forming up 2 by 2 again. A bit of a Noah's Ark situation for the cars, especially up the front with those Mitch cars. Although there are 4 of them, so I don't know if that counts as a Noah's Ark situation there. But they're going to start lining it up side by side, and they've got to do it all over again. You're going to see who has got the gift of the slow right foot now. It's all about pressing the accelerator pedal with the least pressure as possible on these restarts. You don't want to have to put your foot down. You don't want to have to spin those wheels up, because it's so easy to lose that car. You've got to be really gentle on that accelerator pedal to get it working, almost like you've got an egg underneath it and you don't want to crack it. You've just got to be really careful not to spin those tyres up. If you do, things will go wrong very quickly. So those guys are just going to be gentle across the line here as we go back to green flag racing. But it's all going to be an important restart for them. We're going to see some cars starting to work their way up the field on those fresher tyres as well. So it's it's going to get interesting from here on out. We've got some very different strategies in play here. Some people on very worn tyres, some people on very fresh tyres, and we've still got 69 laps remaining of this race as we hit lap 91. Danny G is going to lead us away, drops the hammer, gets a good restart there. They all managed to keep the cars pointing straight. Danny G leads away here at Atlanta Motor Speedway for the ABRUZZI ANZCAR Cup. And you can see there the Mitch car of Josh Mickelmore just on the outside at the start, getting pushed a little bit wide. Kai Turner getting a good restart on Raymond Yeager. He's going to try and press the position and get up a position here. They go side by side as they come into turns 3 and 4. Kai Turner getting a really good run there on the outside. He's going to get past Jason Martin as well, possibly jump past Hamish Gallagher too. Getting a fantastic run up on that high line at the moment. Looks like he's managed to keep some warmth in those tyres. And won't be long until those other cars start getting back to performance. But you can see that high line is paying off for them at the moment. They're going to try and keep it locked out as much as possible up there on the high line. Good run though from Kai Turner. He's side by side with Hamish Gallagher at the moment. You can see Raymond Yeager in the background running up very close to the wall there. Did he have to lift? I think he may have managed to keep that car with some momentum though. He's going to get past Hamish Gallagher right here. Danny G has managed to get a good leapfrog at the start, but it's all chaos behind him at the moment as we have almost 3 wide with Barry Neil Pearson, who's coming up on those fresher tyres now. He's going to start siving his way through the field. So we're going to see some interesting changes of position now. I think Josh Mickelmore JCW will be on the slightly fresher tyres as well, I believe. You have to forgive me, my timing screen has just messed up a little bit. Just not giving me the right details on a couple of tyre stints just because of that little incident in pit lane. But you're going to see some cars starting to side their way through the field now. As you can see, Neil Pearson there getting past Raymond Yeager. He's just going to go underneath Kai Turner now, making it look easy as he gets through the field, much like we saw Michael Skurlock doing at the beginning stages of this race. Those fresh tyres really giving him an advantage.
There's some close, tight racing going on here with these different tyre sets here. Let's see Pearson getting really close to Yeager, I think it was. We've got the 777 here. I think that'll be Dwayne Priest trying to work his way through on the bottom there, just behind Barry Neal. Oh, JCW up the front there behind the 21 of Jason Martin. It's a real mixed bag here right now.
Yeah, JCW just got a little bit loose for a moment, but then he's managed to catch it. He's really flying up there. You can see now with Foster as well. He's starting to fly his way up the field, but up the front, Neil Pearson has just got past Josh Mickelmore, and he's now trying to make the move on Danny G. It won't be long until he's up there. JCW, Joshua Carroll-Walden there, just going around the outside on those fresher tyres. They are really helping him at the moment, and he is just absolutely siving his way through the field. You're going to see him catching up very, very quickly. Meanwhile, Edward Foster's just got caught back a little bit behind Barry Neal, who is down on the inside. Dwayne Priest on the outside there, Barry Neal. Those two are battling it out, but Foster is wanting to get back those positions after getting caught out in pit lane with those spinning cars. Meanwhile, up the front, you can see JCW just getting past Kai Turner now. Neil Pearson has taken the lead. He's going past Danny G and pulling out a fairly decent gap.
Yeah, it's all happening here, Carl. And you know what the beauty thing is? We've got 60 laps still to go after they get to, well, 62 to be precise. But yeah, still a long way to go on this one, mate.
Yeah, still a lot of laps to go in this race, and still a lot of things that can go wrong for these drivers as well. They've really got to keep these cars on the right spot. As a few of them were saying, they can only manage about 40 laps on the tyres. So you really, if there's a caution out now and these guys have to come in for tyres, they'll probably have to stop one more time. Oh, Raymond Yeager gets caught in the back by Kai Turner. As he loses the back end a little bit, that's going to check up the rest of the people behind him. He's managed to keep it going, though. Good recovery there from Raymond Yeager, keeping that car straight and on the track. And yeah, that was very close to having a big incident there behind him. But just that bit of experience has really paid off there.
Yeah, it certainly was. I feel like the intensity is really ramped up right now in this part of the race. These guys are racing hard out there, and they're not leaving each other too much room, which is fine. Leaning on each other a bit here. So yeah, these guys are racing hard, and yeah, as I said, the intensity's picked up as well. One of the cars picked up the back, the wall down the back straight there was a green car. I'm not sure who it was, but yeah, he got a little bit loose, had a bit of a tank slap after touching the wall on the outside there.
I think that might have been Gary Wellman, just up
I think
the
you're
front
right, yeah.
as well. I think Philip Worley might just be having a couple of slight connectivity issues. It looks like he's just getting a couple of bits of blinking at the moment, and that's always distracting when you're the car behind them. Meanwhile, Neil Pearson has pulled out a 2-second lead at the front. He is getting a good run up there as somebody goes off down towards the back. It looks like it might have been Ruben Phelps just having a big moment down the back straight. He's managed to get the car back on track, but that was almost a big moment for him. Meanwhile, Foster is trying to get up and underneath Josh Mickelmore. He's going to manage that quite well. Next up in line is Philip Worley.
As he gets down there on the inside there, down on that white line, he's got the DPR car in front of him to pass, and is just fill me in. Is Edward on the same strategy as Pearson, or are they on different sets?
They are pretty much on the same strategy. Foster stopped 1 lap later because of a incident in pit lane. We saw the DPR cars spinning in pit lane. Foster had to take avoiding action, had to go round for another lap, and that cost him a lot of track position. But he's working his way back up the field now as they go underneath. A very, very near miss there as Paul Daniel there just getting out the way of the leaders, almost touching the wall. But yeah, he's got 1 lap fresher tyres. Not that that makes much difference. But yeah, he had to go round for an extra lap, and that cost him a little bit of time on the pit stop. Yeah,
apologies. I had to go and have another reset there. So yeah, missed all that. But Whitehead Edward obviously had to avoid some incidents.
We got an incident towards the back. I think it may have been Luke Trahair. Luke Trahair there. I saw a lot of smoke there.
A lot of flags, yeah.
Caution is out, and this is going to be the one where you're going to see those drivers that stayed out, probably coming into the pit lane.
Oh, luckily, Lachlan Urquhart just drive straight into the back of him there and just used Trahair up for all his worth there. So I'm not sure what the go is there, but yeah, it looked like he wasn't stopping for nobody. He just ploughed the back of the 43 there. So interesting contact, that one.
Yeah, that was awkward moment there for Urquhart. He's just got into the back of Trahair and just spun him around there. Not what we want to see. I imagine that's going to get him the view of the stewards.
Yeah, it could be a bit more. I'm not sure if something's happened earlier in the lap, or there's a bit of biff and barge going out there. But the gloves are off tonight, man. I'm telling you, these boys are racing each other hard.
They are, and I was trying to see who was behind Trahair. It was one of the Activity Hub Barley cars there. I missed who it was, unfortunately. It was the red car, but he got caught up pretty nastily in that incident. So that's going to really affect him for that one. So we're going to see, I imagine, those cars, that a lot of cars coming into pit lane. You can see the Mitch cars. Now, the question is can they make it to the end on these tyres? We've seen the longest stint so far was about 42 laps, 45 laps. So they've got to make it about 54 laps from here, and they have no more tyres for the rest of the race.
I wonder if they're going to get tyres or just fuel only, because you'd be brave to take tyres, especially at your last set, and I think you're going to get a good 50 laps out of them, because they will be dead by the time they get to the end of this race, if that's the case. So we'll see what they do there, but yeah, interesting race shaping up for us here, Carl.
We do indeed, and it looks like the Mitch cars just took fuel. I saw a couple of cars taking tyres, but looks like the Mitch cars were just taking fuel in that stop. So
yeah, I had a feeling that might be the case. Yeah, I had a feeling that might be the case, just because it's a big stint on these tyres, and they won't last that long. You'll be dead by the time you get to lap 30 in these things. So just a strategy card played there. So whether they can get home on a full tank now, that's probably what they're banking on. Where these cars still may have to pit one more time if it does stay green for some reason.
I think we'll see the whole field pitting at least once more for tyres this race. I don't think they can make it home as it stands on those tyres. Well, we have been proven wrong in the past, but I think we're probably going to see one more stop at least tonight. But of course, taking tyres now could be a genius move. It could be a bit of a mistake. I did notice Kai Turner actually did take tyres in that stop, so he may be one of the only cars out there on super fresh tyres this time round. So it'll be interesting to see what he does come the restart, see how much time and ground he makes as they start this race back up. He's going to have some good pace early on, but will it be enough to make the advantage as the other cars have to go round? So he's rolling the dice a little bit. If he can stay out there, if it remains green and all the rest of the field have to pit, if he can make them last, it could be a winning move for him, but it's going to be a tough call.
Yeah, I'm going to give him all the luck I have. Yeah, good luck. Do your best, basically. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. Really a nothing caution here. I'm not sure how much you're going to gain from it or lose from it. It's just kind of a bit of a awkward time for everybody. So the Mitch guys are going to try and make something of it, whereas the guys at the front here like Pearson and JCW are just going to cop a sweet and see how it ends up.
The big thing for the Mitch cars now is they've lost a lot of track position. They're down there in around about 16th position, I think is the first of the cars, and that's Danny G. So you've got a lot of cars in front of them. They're going to be right down there in the midst of the pack right now. And although there are quite a few cars with some damage around them, it's going to be hard work to get up past those cars. Meanwhile, you're going to have people like Pearson, JCW, Philip Worley, Foster, Dwayne Priest, all on fresher tyres, who are going to get a good restart and might be able to make up some good time here. Pace car will be coming in at the end of this lap. Now's the big thing on wheel spin, though, because we could see some big incidents mid-pack with those old tyres.
Yeah, well, they've been racing hard up until this point, especially in that last stint, so I don't expect that to be any less this time around. So yeah, watch for these guys to start using these bumpers, as we saw in that last caution. Lockie Yokio, yeah, hard in the bumper of the 43.
Yeah, that's it, and it's you get the cars in front of him that just have so much less speed than you expect them to, and it can really catch you out sometimes. Pace car is going to come in. Neil Pearson's going to lead us away. JCW on the outside. We go green back here at Atlanta Motor Speedway on lap 108 of 160. Pearson getting a good restart there ahead of JCW. His teammate Philip Worley managing to get down underneath Worley as underneath JCW as well. Foster's going to try and follow him down there too. Worley going up to defend against JCW. This is going to give Foster the opportunity to try and get up underneath Philip Worley. Will he be able to make it work? He's a bit far away at the moment, but he could make a bit of a dive here. Worley tries to cover him on the inside. Foster's going to sit there. He's going to want to try and get a good run off here. Get the up and under on Worley and see what he can do right here to get ahead of him and start chasing down Pearson.
Yeah, the big angry pack behind those guys is Raymond Yeager now having a crack at the 35 of JCW. He looks like he's going to get clear and get that move done out of turn 2 here as Edwards. Oh, it's tight on the outside of the DPR car there.
Yeah, very close there for Foster, almost getting caught by Worley on the outside as Worley's car just runs up the track, just losing a bit of grip on that low line, couldn't keep it down there. And that's the other thing, of course. Meanwhile, you can just see a little bit further back, James Robbie just having a good run at the moment. Try not to curse and commentate him, but he's got some speed at the moment. I think he might have been one of those cars that came in before for a pit. Came in.
Yeah, remembering also he got caught at that restart with those tyre spins of the guys in front and dropped right to the back. So he's working his way back up to the front of this field. Good to see, and that green car of his looks mint. As we've got Traher also fighting back on the outside of the 4.8 Kai Turner and going 3 wide, almost out of turn 3, forward down the front straight here.
Yeah, there are cars all over the place there, and you can just see that with Traher just trying to get used to the car, just trying to get an idea of how much damage was caused and how much that's going to affect his car now as well, and that's part of a tricky situation. And they're catching up to Josh Micklemore at the moment. You can start to see the pack's just starting to split a little bit between Barry Neal and Danny G at the moment, as those two sort of separate strategies start to play out a little bit. Meanwhile, Neil Pearson is pulled out a bit of a lead, but Foster is catching him at the moment. Foster, that last time round, was a tiny bit quicker than Pearson, so we'll see how Foster does on the pitting here.
Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on that gap, and you also don't want to use up your tyres too much, so you don't want to go too hard here. So you want to try and save what you can while you're at the front, because there's no point pushing. Use that clean air to good effect, and yeah, see if you can save some of your tyres here.
Oh, Barry Neal getting underneath Gary Wellman. Oh, Barry Neal catching.
Oh, Dwayne Priest is caught up. He's hard on the fence there by the looks of it. We've got Mirko on the apron down there. The field is scattered. I'm not sure if we're green still.
A caution now. A caution it is out. It was Barry Neal just catching Dwayne Priest a little bit. Just caught him underneath on that sort of on the dog leg, and great save by Dwayne Priest. He managed to keep it away from the wall, and then somehow everybody avoided him. Fantastic save by Dwayne Priest there in the 777. That's probably going to be the save of the year, I think.
Yeah, he's got a replay up on screen now. Oh, he just gets hooked. He's had a big tank slapper. I'll tell you what, that's pretty good car control from Dwayne Priest, mate. Good save to him, and shout out to the guys behind not to get themselves caught up in that mess as well. So well done to the guys there as well.
Yeah, big shout out to Josh Mickelmore there. He was straight on the radio saying check up on that straight. He saw it all unfolding just ahead of him, and let everybody know what was happening, and they all had time to just get on the brakes and avoid that incident. But that was a super save by Dwayne Priest. We said a few times this season, it's good to see Dwayne Priest up there and just showing that he does have that car control. He is one of those very crafty veteran drivers and extremely skilled out there to hold that car in.
Yeah, for sure. And Dwayne Priest has been around for a long time in the ANZCAR series. He doesn't race every single race, but he has been around it throughout the years that they've been running.
Now, in the pit lane, we've got Neil Pearson coming in. He's the first of those cars to come in. So Pearson coming in, he's getting tyres as well. So Pearson is the first to get new tyres out of that top group that we've seen. So he's going to be on fresh tyres for this restart. Foster will be on the freshest tyres, I believe, up the front next to Dwayne Priest. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in that respect. I think Neil Pearson might have got pinged for speeding or something because he's got a hold in the pit lane, so he got a very long stop in the pit lane, so I think he might have got held up for that one for some misdemeanor there. So that's going to drop Pearson right to the back of that pack, but he is going to be on those fresh tyres. That's going to help him out an enormous amount.
Yeah, I don't know who's going to win this one, Carl, mate. It is spread all over the page here. Good luck to anyone trying to pick a winner to this one.
If you pick the winner tonight, go out and do the lottery. I think it's going to be one of those nights. At the moment, it is hard to tell. I could not even give an uneducated guess, let alone an educated guess to who's going to win this one, as we've got 44 laps remaining. We're on lap 117 as soon as Foster crosses the line of 160. Still a long way to go in this race. Those guys that stayed out are going to be banking on a caution coming out in the next, I'd say, 10 or 15 laps, and then they'll all be in for that last set of tyres. So Foster up in the lead with Joshua Carroll-Walden in second. Lachlan Urquio in third with James Robbie in fourth. Great recovery for James Robbie in that Pace Syndicate car. That beautiful green racing livery on his car. Just behind him, in a similar green car, is Gary Wellman. Danny G has managed to work his way back up to sixth position. Fantastic driving from Danny G. I do have to wonder if maybe he took some tyres in that last stop because he has got some speed that the other Mitch cars don't have. So I'm just going back to have a little bit of a look and see what happened there. Then behind Danny G, we've got Dwayne Priest, Mirko Dorner, Kai Turner, Matthew Raymond in 10th place. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with the rest of those cars. It's going to be an interesting race from here on out. We've got so many different strategies. And no, Danny G did not take tyres. He just took fuel in that last stop. So doing a great job of keeping that car going on those older tyres at the moment. Danny G, of course, taking the win in Phoenix last week. Unfortunately, we did not get to broadcast the end of that race. But Danny G getting his first W of the season. So the car's going to start lining up in dual positions again, as we see so often on the restarts here. It's a very different kind of restart system, of course, in oval racing. You do have that, and especially in ANZCAR as well, you have to wait for the leader to pull away, and we have the no passing before the line rule as well. So everybody has to keep in their lanes as they're racing. So if you see somebody jump out of position and trying to overtake somebody before they cross the checkered line, then they are doing a bit of a naughty thing and will get pulled up by the stewards. But you keep in your lane, and as soon as you cross that line, you go for those positions to try and stop incidents on those restarts. Of course, that is there for. So Foster will get the chance to lead away, and it will be his prerogative as where to put the foot down on that throttle. JCW's just got to try and guess where he's going to do that, as the pace car will be coming in very shortly as we get back to live racing on lap 118 here at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Yeah, pace car will pull down straight on the pit road here, and the Edward Foster will have control of the field, and he goes now. He gets a little bit of wheel spin. Josh gets a great restart in the 35 on the outside. He's almost anticipated that start and gets a great run to see if he can hold it down the outside there. We've got James Robbie in behind with Lachlan Okio as well in there.
Gary Wellman as well. Gary Wellman.
Yeah, Wellman, yeah.
Inside. Yeah, good restart there from JCW. Foster just got a little bit of wheel spin in the pretty much the second phase. He put his foot down, and JCW heard that, put his foot down in response, and just got to stick right to Foster. Didn't make a position, but he did keep nice and close, and that's the important thing on a restart like this.
Yeah, good battle here between the two green cars there, Wellman and James Robbie on the outside, and the 42 just in front of those guys. And NEG is got a good view of this at the moment. Who's he got for company with him there? He's got one of the Crank Esports cars, Luke Trahair coming back.
Yeah, Luke Trahair and Mirko Dortnak in front of him as well. Nice to see Mirko up there in the high ends of the field. Won't talk too much because I don't want to curse him, but nice to see him back up there. Trahair having a good recovery there as well, especially with that bit of damage to the front. He's really got some good pace in him. We've seen this season with Trahair. He's had some very good runs, especially in the truck series. He seems to be a master at holding higher wear as well. So
tight between Wellman and Urquio there off the turn two. They're getting nice and tight and comfy there. Those boys are almost sharing a bed by the looks of it out of turn two.
Yeah, very close there.
And again off turn four with the 42 and Wellman, and that gives Mirko Dortnak a chance to go down the inside of Gary Wellman and moves himself up into third place. That will be so. Job's not done yet, but working away on the inside of it.
As we've got Hamish Gallagher taking a bit of a spin and somebody else going into the wall behind him, a bit further back in the field, but we have remained green. I'm just trying to see if I can see what happened there. Dwayne Priest there. Dwayne Priest going up into the wall. So unfortunate for Dwayne Priest. We saw that super save, and that went up into the wall that time round. So
Mirko's up in the second place here, so he's made a move on JCW down the front straight there. Not sure if Josh had an issue out of turn four possibly, but Gary Wellman's going to be all over him too now. So the 35 of Josh is coming under extreme pressure here by the guys behind.
And meanwhile, up front, Foster has pulled out a bit of a lead at the moment. Mirko Dortnak is starting to catch up though. Dortnak might be on much fresher tyres. I'm sort of seeing on my pit lane stops, so I think Mirko Dortnak might be on a good set of tyres right here, and this is going to see him have some good pace as this little bit of the race goes on. So be interesting to see how much faster he is than Foster. At the moment, he's about 0.3 of a second a lap faster than Foster.
Yeah, I can't see the ticker at the moment, but I'm not sure how many laps we got left, but he's definitely chasing down the 53 here, and should get the lead of this race in not too distant future.
We've got 36 laps left. We're on lap 125 as Mirko Dortnak goes down the inside of Foster and takes the lead of the Atlanta round of the ANZCAR Cup. Dortnak taking the lead, and he's going to start pulling out a bit of a gap here from Foster now. He's going to want this to remain as green as possible for the near future. Meanwhile, Andrew Dyson is making a good move down on James Robbie and Luke Trahair, I believe. So really got some pace in Andrew Dyson's car, who is on.
That's an angry pack. Have a look at them. They're all over the shop here. So Mirko banks himself a bonus point for winning a lap. He loves a good bonus point, Mirko. So good on you, Mirko. See you out front there, but this pack looks angry. These boys look racy up here.
Yeah, they are. There's so many different tyre strategies. As all Dyson gets so close to the wall there. Dyson in the Sim Race car, the GPR car, I believe is on much fresher tyres than those cars around him. Raymond Yeager as well on those fresh tyres as well. So you're going to see some really racy cars coming up here now. And this is the part of the race where if it remains green, these guys are going to get some really good positions gained.
Yeah, absolutely. You see Andrew Dyson on the outside of the 23 of Jaeger. I said it last week, Dyson's a handy road racer. He's handy in the V8 supercar, so it'll be good to see when we get to a road course to see how he goes with those guys there. But working away now on Jaeger, as they're still side-by-side going through 3 and into 4 here now with Edward Foster. Both look like they're catching him at the same time.
Yeah, they're absolutely catching Foster. Foster can't do anything about those cars at the moment. He's doing his best, but he is a good couple attempts slower each lap.
Oh, this is going to get tight through here. We've got Pearson who's running the high line. He's got his teammate Dyson in front of him. He's got a teammate behind him getting loose. I'm not sure who that is, but he's just got a bit loose. He's gathered up though, and yeah, it's about to get tight and awkward through here as Jaeger goes to the bottom and Dyson goes to the top. They just split Edward Foster right around the outside.
Bit of a Hakkinen-Schumacher move there at Spa, going around the outside of Foster.
Two trailer park girls.
That's it. But those DPR cars are all on fresh tyres, same as Raymond Yeager. So they are looking good at the moment. They are on the freshest tyres of the field at the moment. Of course, if it remains green, it's going to be good for them. You can see they're catching up to Andrew Dyson very quickly as well. Dyson just losing a little bit of speed there. Jordan has pulled out a bit of a lead, but he's going to get caught up by these guys as well. Foster just getting swallowed by that pack. He's fallen down all the way down to 5th place. 5th place at the moment, I believe. Maybe 7th, actually. Sorry, my timing screen is just playing up a little bit.
There's plenty going on out there at the moment, Car. Yeah, there's plenty of movement happening, but I'm happy because the race has amped up the ante here, and for the first time tonight, you don't sound like a robot to me, so all's good here.
I don't have the Matt Hunter voice pack on. No, as Neil Pearson is absolutely flying at the moment. He is really starting to catch up to Mirko Dornak, who has got a good lead at the moment. He's able to keep some good pace in that car, but Pearson is much faster. That last time round, he was around about 2.2 of a second faster than Dornak. So these guys are going to start catching quite quickly. It's all going to depend now on if it remains green, as we've got 29 laps remaining of this race.
Yeah, we're going to see who's going to look after the tyres the best here, because those guys behind Mirko would have used a lot of tyre up to get to the front there. As Mirko was a bit higher up, he got to the front a bit quicker, but I'm not sure if they're on newer tyres than Mirko again. So yeah, lots of different tyre strategies here.
From my figures, they're about 10 laps fresher. So,
yeah, so we've got 3 sets. So we had Edward on the oldest, then we had Mirko on another strategy, and now we got the DPR cars flying to the front of this field on the freshest tyres by the looks.
That's it. Yeah, there's a real mix of strategies at the moment. Then sort of further down, you've got people like Danny G, who's dropped down to 16th position. Those Mitch Motorsport cars are on the oldest tyres in the field, if my tyre maths is correct. So they're really starting to struggle as they've dropped down the order at the moment. They are just struggling there, and they are hoping for a late caution in this race.
Yeah, absolutely, and they may get it the way these guys are racing, but good to see the 62 of Mirko Dortmund having a good round out the front, but yeah, there's not much he's going to be able to do about Neil Pearson, who's just hunting him down at the moment. It's like a greyhound chasing after a rabbit at the moment.
Yeah, that's it. And Dornak, being that rabbit, he cannot do much other than try and run away as fast as he can. But as fast as he can run is not fast enough as Pearson takes a look down the inside. Dornak just holding that outside line. You can see the difference in grip levels here as Pearson is just able to hold that speed on the inside line still. Dornak still has it for the moment, but Pearson's going to shoot down the inside and take the lead of the race once more here with 27 laps remaining.
Yeah, we're going to have to wait and see. At the moment, at this point in time, Neil Pearson's got the sights on here for a possible win here, another win for the season, and he's got a bit of lap traffic in front of him that looks like, I'm not sure who that is actually, but yeah, a bit of lap traffic coming into play there as well.
Yeah, that would be Paul Daniel there. Paul Daniel there.
That's him. That's the guy.
Newer drivers to the series, always tricky to remember names. Makes it trickier when you don't have the names next to you. Having to use your memory and things like that, that's something I cannot do. So big props to Dave Douglas there for his ability to remember things.
As we're looking at the 83 of Matty Raymond, so he got caught up in a little incident earlier with Aiden Schultz. Still trucking on here. He's in amongst it with the Indycars here. Not sure on placings at this point in time, but yeah, he might be running that same strategy as those guys, looking for a late caution here possibly.
Yeah, that's it. I believe he's on the same strategy. Apparently, he's been down pit lane 6 times tonight. I think that was mainly for repairs than anything else for Matty Raymond. So he's
oh, we got, who's that? The purple guy? Is that Martin having a big moment? No, it's not. It might be Tristan Koch. I think that might be the 550. Is it? Yeah, it is. So that'll be Tristan having a massive moment coming off turn 4 there. Got down into the grass there for a little bit, but gathered up, and we're still green.
Still green, and I imagine a lot of cars behind him are just cursing that caution didn't come out.
Oh, we might get one here. Geez, that's close. Hamish Gallagher right up on the inside of Ruben Phelps there in the Barley Hubbard activity car there. Real tight, mate. I reckon they were rubbing on each other through turn 3 and 4 there.
Yeah, that was as close as you can possibly get right there. You can't get much closer than that at all. One guy that will be looking for a caution that would really appreciate one right now is Michael Skurlock. He's currently 1 lap down, sitting in that lucky dog position, still trucking along there in 27th position after that early incident for him up into the wall and that bit of bad luck with the cautions coming out. But it's not paid off for him tonight, but late caution could help him out as this race goes on. But we are counting down laps as we are now 21 laps to go as soon as Pearson crosses the line again. So the race is coming down towards the tail end of its moments now. And
I'm just keeping an eye out the front there. I'm not sure if Neil Pearson... Mirko's done a pretty good job here. He's still within a second on last lap by, but he's not driving away like he thought he would. So Mirko's still doing a good job out there on those older tyres. And I think he's going to have another DPR car coming up possibly to...
Worley there.
Worley, so he's come out strong. I thought Dyson might be the first one to get there, but Worley's gone through those guys and ended up the next contender.
Yeah, so good driving there, but Dornack is really doing a great job of holding on, and this is the point where those tyres can just plateau a little bit, and tyre speed, it sort of doesn't really change that much for you. So at the moment, it's looking like Mirko's tyres are holding on pretty well. He's not really catching on Pearson, but he's not losing much time at the moment, and Philip Worley's not really gaining much time.
Oh. So just watching the 23, just got a little bit squirrely off turn 2 there in amongst those cars there. I think maybe, who's that pink one? I can't remember his name.
That would be Greg Spencer.
Jim Spencer. Looked like he might have just taken a bit of the air off the spool of the 23 there coming out of turn 2 and just got the 23 a bit loose there.
Yeah, that's it. Those teammates fighting hard with each other, which is what we like to see from teammates. But you've got to say it's time maybe just to try and work together a little bit to get past those DPR cars.
Yeah, well, there's no one you want to beat more than your teammate. So those guys will race as hard as they can without taking each other out. So trust me, when you got a inter-team battle going on, you want to be the one that's winning that battle. So, but you don't want to be the one that's making contact. So.
Oh, that's it. There's nobody worse you can hit than your teammate, and there's nobody worse you can lose to than a teammate. That's always the thing. They're the greatest measuring sticks in the sport, of course. But you can see DPR doing a great job tonight with 3 of their cars in the top 5.
Oh, James, sorry, James probably just got real tight and went up in front of the 42 of Verkio as Spencer now looks to the inside of the Dyson in a 041 here. But as you were saying, the DPR cars have done well tonight, and so far is very close to the outside wall. That so far has paid off for those guys.
It has indeed, and it's only a one mistake away, as you see there. Andrew Dyson getting so close to the wall there, just avoiding it. But you know, just one tap into the wall there could have brought out a caution and really ruined their night. They are just one caution away from a night-ruining position, really. So it's all that thing of who's got the right strategy at the moment. We're not going to know until the end of this race.
Yeah, they won't be comfortable now. with about 5 to go, they might be a bit more comfortable. But the longer this goes green, the better it is for those guys at the moment, especially with these Mitch cars, knowing that they've got a spare set of tyres up their sleeve if something does happen to happen here.
Yeah, the Mitch cars, though, they might be in some trouble as they are quite far down. Danny G at the moment is the highest placed Mitch car in 16th position, with Matthew Raymond just stuck to his tail like there's glue on it. They're doing a good job there on those old tyres, but they can't really gain many positions here.
No, that's it. So throw the dice comes with its sacrifices and consequences, and at the moment, that's their bed. They've made that, so they've got to sleep in it for now. But if something does happen and falls their way, then they're in for a real show. Wow, Jaeger right out sideways there, and nice bit of flamboyant driving and keeps it under control. So these tyres are starting to wear thin.
Yeah, that's it. The tyres are starting to go, and as you start fighting so close to each other, you get those little drops of aero as you go behind the cars and start dicing positions. All of a sudden, the car will feel very different very quickly. Meanwhile, at the front, Neil Pearson's got almost a 1.8-second lead over Mirko Dortnak, who has himself got around about a quarter of a second lead over Philip Worley, but he's starting to fall into the grips of Worley at the moment, but doing a great job of keeping that car up there on those slightly older tyres. Meanwhile, a little bit further back, you've got Luke Trahir coming under pressure by Kai Turner at the moment. Kai Turner doing a great job getting underneath Luke Trahir there, and he's going to start working his way up, trying to get up past the series champion Edward Foster there in 8th position.
Yeah, just want to, I think in 7th place at the moment, doing a great job is Bradley Ellison. So good to see him there in the top 7 and having a good run tonight. So he's got his couple of teammates in front of him. He looks like he might have pace over those guys, so he may even move up, possibly. If he can get by these two, that'll be a top 5. So that'll be a great finish for him. So yeah, hopefully Bradley can get this one done.
Yeah, doing a great job tonight. And another team doing a great job, Activity Hub Barley team, there with their cars up in the top 10 at the moment, with Raymond Yeager, Greg Spencer, and Brad Allison. Really good job of getting those cars up there for the moment. So good to see there.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised with the pace of Trahir here late in this race. As he's right out sideways, just like Jaeger was a couple laps ago. But after getting in that big wreck, he's still got some good pace in that car. So that's interesting to see. Obviously got enough repaired, and yeah, doing a good enough job at the moment to stay in there.
Yeah, he's definitely one of those drivers to keep an eye on for the future in the Cup Series. We've seen him have some amazing races down in the trucks. He's one of those drivers in the Virtual Motorsport Mentor Series as well, run by Chris Purnell. And he's had a fantastic season this year in the Ovals. Very much a driver of the Road Series, but he has learnt so much for the Oval racing, and he's really putting it to show. Just a little bit further back, you've got James Robbie making a good move on Gary Wellman at the moment. James Robbie just getting a good run up there on Wellman. Those two green cars battling for 12th and 13th position at the moment. So we've still got battles going on through the field as it goes, but those cars are starting to pace out a little bit. They're starting to get some gaps between each other, and that is just great news for Neil Pearson in the lead.
Yeah, I can't go past giving Allison a bit of a shout out without shouting out his teammate Spencer, who's having a good run tonight. So he's had a bit of bad luck this season, and he looks like he might be turning that around tonight. I think he's running 6th at the moment, or might even be a top 5 at this point in time. But yeah, good job from him.
Yeah, that's it. And as well, mentioning drivers that we don't see up in the top area too often, Philip Woolley and Andrew Dyson having great runs tonight as well. New to the Cup Series, especially with Worley. Great run up there in the top 5 at the moment. And as I said, DPR having a fantastic night so far with all of those cars up in the top 5. The only cars really, the only fly in the ointment is Mirko Dortnak, of course, in the Dortnak Special in there in 2nd.
Yeah, it's absolutely. There's a big pack of cars there again and entering down into 3 there. We're just going to jump back to a replay here. And it's Trahir, I think. Yeah, he's come off. Oh, he got up in the wall. He's come off there hard into the safer barrier on the inside. We stay green, though, I believe, and that hasn't brought out the caution.
It's not brought out the caution. Curse of the commentator. I don't think we can say much more than that for that one. Real big moment there for Trahir, unfortunately. That is devastating for him. He was having a good run up there. I also noticed that Joshua Carroll Walden has come into the pit lane. though JCW coming into pit lane to get some fresh tyres put on that car, or maybe some fuel. I'm not sure if it's fuel, then there could be a few people in trouble out there.
Yeah, I'm not sure. You wouldn't be stopping for tyres at the moment, but I can tell you that Neil Pearson will be counting his laps down at the moment and hoping it stays green right now, because at the moment, if it stays green, this is his race to lose. But yeah, you can never say never here. I've had it before. You get a late race caution and then everything changes.
That's it, as we've got 6 laps to go now. Neil Pearson up there in the lead, ahead of Mirko Dortmund, ahead of Philip Worley, ahead of Andrew Dyson, who is in a battle with Raymond Jaeger at the moment. Jaeger is really pressing on and pushing that car up there as he gets a little bit loose there, I think. Raymond Jaeger just gets a bit loose and loses quite a bit of speed. That's going to give Greg Spencer the chance to get up ahead of Jaeger, give him the opportunity to get in. We have got people pitting in. I think people are starting to run out of fuel, because I just had James Robbie coming into the pit lane. So we've got people obviously really taking the cars to the end of this race, hoping for a late caution, obviously running the fuel as far as they can, and it's not working out for them.
Yeah, it's getting tight towards the end of this race, and I think Kai Turner might have just put a move on the 53, or they were just battling as he has done. So Kai Turner moves up a nice spot in the MFR car. Good run for him tonight, back up into the top 8 there. So he's been there or thereabouts all night. So yeah, getting tight down towards the end of this one with 4 laps to go here.
I think the person we got to wonder, and Edward Foster has come into pit lane. I was about to say the person that's going to be sweating bullets is Foster, because he is one of those cars that stayed out there the longest. So he's having to come into pit lane for a green flag pit stop. That is disastrous for him, and that's really going to affect his race, as Pearson in the lead still with only 3 laps to go. Comes around now. We are getting towards the very end of this race.
Yeah, it's a bit all over the shop here. So those guys that just looking for that late caution are paying the price for that now, unfortunately. So hasn't happened for them. They've got to take some fuel. They will get points, but yeah, unfortunately, going to be a couple of laps down here by the end of it.
Yeah, that's really going to affect them. Pitting under green is always a painful experience. So we'll see how that one goes.
Worst part is you might end this race with a spare set of tyres up your sleeve. You don't want to do that. You want to use up what you got. You never want to end the race with a bit of spare speed in your pocket.
No, there's nothing worse than having a spare set of tyres that are unused in there, and it just it's disastrous, you know. But that's the thing we say about rolling the dice. Sometimes it's in your favour and sometimes it's not, and in those cases, definitely wasn't. I'm just wondering for Ruben Phelps as well. Just
there's a nice there's some smoke on the front straight there, so there might have been an issue, but Neil Pearson takes the white flag. One more lap to run, so there's a car down the apron here. Oh, it's got white flag. We've hit the white flag, so next flag ends it. We will race back to the finish line here, even though that car's down the apron.
Scott Griffith there, but we are on the final lap on the white flag. Neil Pearson is in the lead, and it looks like everybody managed to get past Griffith there, so it should be all good. And I think Phil Otto there just getting in line to just coming around. I thought they were going to try and get a good shot for the car. But
Pearson comes through, takes the win here at Atlanta Motor Speedway for the DPR guys, and Mirko Dortmund with a great second place. Philip Worley, special mention out there, as he finished 3rd, Andrew Dyson 4th, and Jaeger running at your top 5.
Brilliant job for those guys. Almost a very different top 5 there. Neil Pearson getting another win for the season under his belt. Brilliant job. Brilliant job there for Pearson. That strategy just paid off perfectly for him. Great job for Mirko Dortmund. Up 22 positions in that race. I spoke to him before the race, and he wasn't looking forward to this one. He didn't expect to do very well. So I think we can say he's done better than he thought in that one.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a smooth operator, Mirko, but yeah, some good results all around for a few guys in the top 10, even top 15. There's some names you don't see up there all the time having some good races tonight. So this one's really mixed it up.
It has indeed, and Ruben Phelps getting in P10 at the end there. That's going to be great for the Activity Hub Bali team. So after 5th place, you have Greg Spencer in 6th, Bradley Allison in 7th, Kai Turner in 8th, Matty Raymond in 9th place, Ruben Phelps in 10th. Harry and Anastakis in 11th, with Josh Micklemore finally finishing in 12th place. Hamish Gallagher 13th, Barry Neal 14th, S. Patton 15th, with Jason Martin 16th, Danny G 17th, Tristan Koch 18th, Lachlan Oko 19th, Phil Otto in 20th, first car a lap down. Then Edward Foster finished 21st with that late pit stop. Joshua Carroll Walden 22nd, James Robbie 23rd, Gary Wellman 24th, Michael Skurlock 25th in the end, Scott Griffiths 26th, Matt Hunter 27th, 28th for Paul Daniel on his debut, Aaron Major in 29th with Luke Chaher in 30th, Christopher Finley 31st, 10 laps down, Dwayne Priest 32nd after that amazing save, didn't get so lucky the second time, Stephen Williams 33rd, Aidan Schultz 34th, Adam Roselle 35th, Witcher 36th, Hardigans 37th, 38th Donnelly, Hickey in 39th, Vincent 40th, 41st was Dylan Howe 42nd, and Liam Ford 43rd. So yeah, what a brilliant drive there! What a brilliant race! We had so many different things happening in that one.
Yeah, tell you what, it was almost like it rained out there. Yeah, they say in road racing, rain's the great equaliser. Well, Atlanta was the great equaliser tonight, and there's a nice chopper there. But yeah, it really turned it on tonight. Those boys out there.
Yeah, that was a brilliant race we saw there. So we'll drag down the drivers from the top three. First joining us in the booth is a man that wasn't expecting too much tonight, Mr. Mirko Dortnak. Mirko Dortnak, welcome to the booth.
Oh, hey there, Carl. How you going, mate?
Yeah, good, thanks. It's nice to speak to you at the end of the race for a change. Congratulations on that P2.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Yeah, it's a good race, man. It was a good race. I lucked into it, I guess. Yeah, I didn't think I was going to get anywhere near that. I was just hoping to finish the race, but
it paid off for you. We saw, obviously, pit strategy was a big thing tonight with those cautions. They made a big difference out there tonight. We saw you come in a little bit earlier than some of the other guys. And it seems to have really paid off. Obviously, you had slightly older tyres than some of those guys around you at the end of the race, I think. But you managed to keep it going.
yeah. I'm not sure what lap Neil pitted on, but he just, once he got to me, he flew right past me. I saw him in the relative, and I was like, he was a couple of seconds back, and I thought, oh, well, this is just a matter of time. And I was just hoping to hold on to as many spots as I could. And turns out I did it, and it was a good result.
Yeah, it really paid off well for you. And yeah, it's nice to have you back up in the booth. Nice to have you back in the top three as well, Mirko. Before I let you skedaddle, of course, anyone you'd like to give a shout out to tonight?
Oh, yeah, the boys in the green room who kept me company during the race. Matt Hunter, Tristan Koch, and Aaron. Sorry, I don't know his surname. Aaron
Major.
Aaron Major, yeah. Those three blokes for this race. We had some laughs while we were racing, so it was good.
Congratulations, Mirko. It's nice to see you back up in the top three, and hopefully we'll get you back in the booth sometime soon later this year.
Oh, I hope so, Carl. It's good having a good result. Thanks, mate.
Thanks, Mirko. Next up, we'll grab the third place man, Philip Worley. Philip Worley, congratulations and welcome to the ANZCAR booth for the very first time.
Thanks, boys. It's great to be here.
Well, yeah, welcome to the booth, first of all. Obviously, first season in the Cup, isn't it? So, obviously, first time up in the booth as well. So, welcome to you. What a brilliant result for yourself there, up in third place.
Yeah, no, it was good. Just avoided the accidents early and played the strategy right, really. It stayed green when we needed it to at the end, so it was good.
So we saw pretty much the whole team come in on that last. I think it was that last caution. Of course, we were all in communication with that one.
Yeah, that was Neil, mate. He steers the ship for us in ANZCAR, and we just follow what he says basically and hope for the best.
Well, it really paid off for you tonight and worked out well, especially for the whole team. Of course, your teammate Andrew Dyson just finishing behind you, just out the top three there. But with three of your cars in the top five, you must be pretty chuffed with that, and especially chuffed first time up in that area of the field.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I would say the boys in the last couple of months have been putting a little bit more effort in the NASCAR side of stuff, so we can start getting some decent results. And it's really good to start seeing it paying off now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great to see, and it's nice to see some new faces up there. We always love to see some new people up in the top three and coming up to join us because it's what it's all about. We always need new people up in the booth and always need new drivers through the field. And it's great to have somebody new in the NASCAR side of things getting up in such a good result. Congratulations on P3.
Thank you very much, mate. Thank you very much.
Now, before I let you go, of course, anyone you'd like to give a shout out tonight?
Firstly, Neil, for the amazing strategy tonight. That was a good call. And secondly, to our sponsors, simrigs.com, Stafford Lifts and Hoists, Ben Max Mechanical, BetSmart Racing Service, and NP Designs. And lastly, I'd love to thank you boys for putting on a good show.
Well, you're always welcome. I hope you enjoy watching this one back.
I will.
Thank you so much, Philip Wally. Next up, we have Neil Pearson. Neil Pearson, congratulations on another win in the Cup Series.
Yeah, thank you. And most importantly, my first oval win. So I'm pretty happy with that.
I can imagine, yes. I'm about to say, we've seen you on the road courses doing extremely well, and on the ovals, you've seemed to have got that nailed tonight as well. Obviously, that strategy call really paying off for you. I imagine you had fingers, toes, legs, arms, everything you could cross that no caution would come out towards the end of that race.
Yeah, everything was crossed. I was just going, please, just no caution. And Steve was going, oh, the track's pretty clear. Like with about 10 to go, like no one was battling, and we're just yelling at him to be quiet, don't jinx it, sort of thing.
I know it's always hard when you're commentating a race. You've got to be careful not to jinx the person in the lead. So we're trying our best to keep it down low a bit for you. But an excellent result for yourself, and especially for the team as well. You must be delighted having 3 of your cars up there in the top 5 tonight.
Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic result. The cautions really went our way, as we've discussed, and the boys are really starting to get a hang of running these cars. And, I've been helping them and just trying to get them up to speed as quick as we can. And, it's starting to really show. It's going to be a bit interesting when we get to like the other sort of tracks where it's more of a driver's track rather than these cookie cutter ones. So that'll be interesting, but I think it's going to be fun.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, there's a lot of different tracks coming up. And of course, something I haven't mentioned yet, of course, next race, we're going to Bristol. Of course, Bristol is one of those tracks that has always been a tricky one, a different track, but it's a very different task this year with it being on dirt.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. It's going to be very interesting. I'm hoping it's not a bit of a yellow fest. We get some green laps in there because Bristol's pretty fun. But also at the same point, I did some just practice and whatnot, and you can really just slide job people, which tends to breed the cautions. So, but it's something I'm looking forward to, and I think it's going to throw a bit of a spanner into everyone who doesn't do dirt, like myself. I don't really take it seriously, so it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be a very different experience for a lot of those drivers. I remember last year in the truck series when we were at Eldora, it was a very different experience with the trucks on dirt. I can't imagine how different it's going to be racing a cup car on dirt, because that's going to be something else. So obviously, you must be along with a lot of other drivers, unsure of what to expect next week.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, that's for sure. So I think it's going to be fun.
It should be an interesting one for sure. Thank you, Neil. And before we let you go, of course, anyone you'd like to give a shout out to tonight for?
Yeah, just my teammates. They've been really pushing me along. I've been helping them, as I said, but they've also been pushing me to put more practice laps in. And I think the speed that I've had all season really shows that. And also just my sponsors, simrigs.com, Southwell Lifts and Hoists, Ben Max Mechanical, BetSmart Racing Services, and NP Designs, and you guys for the great show. I can't wait to go watch my first win on the oval side.
Yeah, look, I hope you enjoy the broadcast. It was a pretty interesting race for sure. We had quite a lot of action all the way through that one. Thank you so much, Neil. I'm sure we'll see you back in the booth shortly.
I hope so.
Neil Pearson there for the DPR team even, sorry. Another good win for Neil Pearson there, and that's going to be great for his championship hopes, isn't it, Dave?
Yeah, certainly. I'm not sure if he's leading it coming into this round after the issues last week, but bounced back strongly with the win tonight.
Yeah, that's it. I think he's going to be close to getting back to the lead. Josh Mickelmore had a 19-point advantage over Neil coming into this race. Mr. Consistency, Josh Mickelmore, but he had a bit of a terrible night tonight for him. Still finished P12 though, so he's still going to get a good haul of points. So the championship is still all to play for. And as we said, next time out we're going to Bristol for dirt. That's going to be a fun one on the 25th of March.
Oh yeah. Get the dirty. Let's get dirty, man. I can't wait. Rip the lip, boys.
Yeah, it's going to be a really interesting race. So from myself, Carl Withy, Dave Douglas, and of course JP up in the production area, we're going to wish you all a fantastic night, and we will see you all next time on the 25th of March for the Bristol race.